Hello, I am Beck. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be drawing a D&D character based on the roll of the dice.
Let's bring out the Tower of Destiny!
So we have a ranger whose subclass is hunter, their background is hermit, and their species is orc. And as you can see from the collection of inspiration images I've gathered, I decided that I wanted it to be a little bit CrORC Dundee vibed. He ends up being quite CrORC Dundee vibed, but he has a -1 charisma, and if you've seen the Crocodile Dundee movies, you'll know that the main character is very charismatic. Like, everyone he meets ends up just loving him and thinking he's amazing. So I was thinking for this character, he's seen these movies and he is emulating this guy to the point that everyone else finds it really tedious and annoying. Let's get started. So my memory of CrORC Dundee is, it's been years since I've seen it, but the premise of the movie is some city woman from New York comes to the outback and finds the guy. I forget what his actual character's name is. I think it's Mike. Pretty sure it's Mike. Anyway, she takes him back to New York City for some reason, and because he's grown up in the outback without a lot of socialization, like, he has friends in the outback, but nothing like New York City, where he does a lot of social faux pas and things like that cause offense, but by the end, whoever he's offended usually thinks he's really cool, because he has the charisma of a cool guy who's like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, and if you don't like me, that's fine. Which of course makes everyone want to know him better. It's very mysterious, and they want to like him and they want him to like them. Anyway, that's my memory of the movie. So here we have the background being hermit, which is very similar to the crocodile hunter, and of course subclass hunter is, self-explanatory. But I think, the difference here is the -1 charisma, where this guy is trying a little bit too hard to not care what other people think, that when he offends them, they can tell that it is intentional. It's not just that he's doing his own thing, it's that he's doing whatever he feels like to be seen as cool, which of course is the opposite of cool. And that is the key difference here. Now, if we go into some more of the details from D&D officially guidebook stuff, I'm very articulate today. The background of hermit comes with the healer feat. And a ranger is basically someone who's very good in their chosen terrain, which is usually a forest. In this case, it could also be bushland, which is kind of an Australian forest. We have rainforests that are very humid and moist and tropical, but we also have bush, which is very dry. And I don't know if arid is the right word, but you can look up Australia yourself. And if you live here, then you don't need to. You know what I'm talking about. But with orcs, you would have seen from the inspiration pictures, a lot of them were green, but the official description does say that they're grey. So I kept that authentic to what D&D asks for. In terms of where I assigned all the ability scores, I was basing it around what the ranger class asks for. So the main abilities are dexterity and wisdom, and then the saving throws or whatever are strength and dexterity. So I made those the highest ones and then sort of randomly assigned the others. I figured charisma would need to be the lowest just because of the hermit background. Not a lot of socializing happens when you're a hermit, because that's kind of how you're defined. Now, for this guy's name, I have to give credit to my boyfriend Cameron, because he saw me drawing this and effectively asked, are you going to call him CrORC Dundee? which I thought was the most hilarious thing ever. So yes, his name is CrORC, as in Croc Dundee, but with orc in it. I know, it's amazing. His name is CrORC Dundee, and because I have him as like, he's a fanboy for Croc Dundee, he named himself. Like, whatever his original name was, whatever the name that his parents gave him was, is gone. His name is CrORC. And he insists that he is Croc Dundee, the dragon hunter, as opposed to Croc Dundee, the crocodile hunter. Whether or not he's ever actually killed or even met a dragon remains to be seen. If I want to delve deeper into CrORC's background, I think maybe part of the reason why he's chosen his own name and become so obsessed with this fictional character is that maybe he was kind of abandoned in the woods as a child, or as a like very, very young, not baby, because he would be dead, but like as a hermit. It does say that he's sort of grown up on his own and spent a lot of time alone. So I think maybe he was abandoned, or he ran away or something, where he only had this story as, I don't know if I would say, it depends on the world that you live in really, like in the what kind of D&D universe you're existing in, whether he has TV and videos, or if this was a book in his world. But he grew up idolizing Croc Dundee because it was the only adult figure in his life for his formative years. So he didn't have parents to teach him how to do things, but he did have this this crocodile hunter, this ranger, who exists in a different world, but nonetheless taught him how to exist as a person and how to flourish in an environment that is quite brutal and will try to kill you. And kind of taught him how to do it with a little bit of a carefree attitude, which can help a lot when you're in dire circumstances. We can see that he has the +2 wisdom, so he is fairly good at reading, not necessarily people, but animals, and deriving, like, his intelligence is average, but what he knows how to use that information, which is what wisdom is. So he can observe that there's moss growing on one side of the tree and know which way north is based on that kind of information. He knows how to apply his knowledge, and he's very dexterous. He's got the +2 to dexterity as well. So he knows how to set traps. He knows how to hunt and catch animals. Like, obviously, hunter subclass, of course, he knows how to hunt, but not just throwing bows and arrows, firing bows and arrows, throwing knives. He knows how to set like a rabbit trap using ropes and pulleys and things like that. He also knows how to find and dismantle a trap, and he knows how to go unnoticed in bushland and forests, so he can sneak up on animals without them knowing he's there, which is very important when you're a hunter. Thinking about why he might join an adventuring party, I suspect it's probably going to just come from his need to prove himself. I think he has a little bit of a hero complex where he wants to save the day and be very impressive and have people admire him the same way that he admires the Croc Hunter, but he probably has a ways to go. I don't know that he'd be particularly high level. Like, normally I don't talk about what level the characters are that I'm drawing. Some of them need to be a high level just because I'm illustrating them using a particular spell where you need to be pretty far along in the character development to be able to do that spell. But I think this guy's just starting out, so he's probably like a level 1 or 2, and he's got a lot of learning to do. And I think he would also just be probably excited to be around people, especially people who accept him and encourage him to use his skills. I think that probably whenever he's tried to be around people before, he's been a little bit too needy in the terms of like trying to show off and act like he doesn't need people, but people can tell what's happening there, and so they're kind of just avoiding him. Whereas if there is a adventuring party who've heard about this guy, this ranger, and he's a great hunter, but he lives in the woods, he's a little bit annoying to be around, but if you can get over that, then he's worth having on your team. I think if someone came and invited him to go on a quest, he'd jump at the opportunity. I don't think he'd really need much more motivation than that. I don't know that he'd be interested in treasure, but if it was dragon's treasure and there was an opportunity for him to actually fight a dragon, I think that would be his dream come true. I think he'd really love to like go to a land where there are so many dragons for him to fight, and he'll either die or come back a victorious hero. And in either case, I think that he'd be like, death by dragon, best way to die, but ideally not dying and coming back with like dragon scale armor and a dragon tooth as my new weapon. And like, I think his idea of treasure is basically like taking apart a dead dragon that he's killed and wearing the trophies all over him. So like, as you can see, he's got probably just actual crocodile teeth. He's probably killed crocodiles and thought nothing of that, and used the teeth as his like adornment on his hat and on his vest. He's probably got a crocodile skin vest and crocodile skin boots, just like his hero. But yeah, I don't think that he thinks anything of that. I think because he's in this world, and the sort of equivalent of fighting a dragon in this world as in the one that D&D exists in, fighting a crocodile isn't that big of a deal, but fighting a dragon is a big deal. In this, as in the real world that I live in and you live in, fighting a crocodile is like crazy. That's a crazy thing to do. So it's the equivalent. It's the equivalent thing depending on which universe you live in. I also don't usually talk about the like ideals and flaws and bonds and things like that that are a part of setting up your D&D character. Usually because when I'm setting up a character, I don't look at those parts because I don't need help with the role-playing character personality aspects of things, because that's the part that I like the most, so I find it very easy to give my character weird personality quirks and things like that. But I think this guy, in terms of alignment, I think that he's definitely chaotic. I don't know if he'd be chaotic evil. Maybe, but I always go towards neutral rather than I don't really like giving characters alignment, to be honest, because that implies that that's just who they are and there's no room for change. Whereas you could start a character who's a jerk and they do a lot of quote-unquote evil things, but then it turns out that they have reasons for that and they sort of work through it and overcome it, and then it's like a nice character arc where you change your alignment. I don't know. This guy definitely doesn't have a problem with killing, let's put it that way. And he likes to take apart the corpse of the things he kills and takes treasure from it. So you could put him in an adventuring party where they're not necessarily doing things for the greater good. They might just be treasure hunters, they might be bandits, they might be pirates. You could be playing as a group who are the bad guys in the story, and that's fun too sometimes. It's fun to be the morally, not even grey, just morally black, corrupt characters who aren't really interested in saving the town in peril. They just want the treasure. They just want to serve their own interests, and they just want what they want. It could be an interesting roleplay point for this guy, because obviously CrORC Dundee at his core is always helping people and will always do the right thing and will always save the day. But also a lot of what he does is kind of act a little bit like a dick. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!